Hi everyone, my name's Dan Draper and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe and turn on all notifications to keep up to date with the content that I'm going to be putting out, including my podcast. Let's get into the videos. Hi everyone and welcome back to the Dan Draper podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in on this very warm episode that we're about to record because it's in the middle of a heat wave. So apologies for all of this sweat if you're watching this. But I've got a fantastic guest for the penultimate episode of the series and we've been chatting for about a year and I cannot wait to get him, to have had him on. So Mr. Gurpreet Singh, would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Hi there, Dan. Firstly, appreciate you having me on. I didn't know it was the penultimate episode, so I feel honoured to get in there right at the end. And you've had some fantastic guests over the time that you've been doing it. So like I said, privileged to be here. And yeah, my name's Gurpreet Singh, and on Instagram, predominantly known as Seek Dad, where I run a parenting blog where I talk about the realities of parenting and share my journey, my lifestyle and experiences. My day job, I work within the mental health industry as a manager of an employment team where we help individual clients that are accessing therapy with their work needs ultimately to find new work, remain in work, or return off sick. I said, what, 4 children and an amazing wife. She'll be listening, so I had to put that one in there. And yeah, there's lots of things that I like to get involved in, fundraising, charity work. Wherever there's a cause, wherever my heart just leads, I just lead with my heart and just try to get involved and do what I can. And I've been blessed with an amazing platform and amazing support from around the world. So I believe that I should always use that for good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Matt. And again, thank you so much for coming on. I know that we chatted at some point last year, didn't we, to try and sort something out, but it's just taken everything. It's just all gone a bit fuzzy, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, look,
But how are things, mate? Anyway, how are you? How's everyone?
really good, amazing. Obviously, the last 18 months has been difficult for everybody. Everyone's had different trials and tribulations, but we seem to be obviously turning the corner socially now.
Yeah.
And I go back to work 1 day a week now, and
Nice.
four days from home. Kids are on summer holidays now, so obviously that's made things a little bit more busy.
Yeah.
But look, we're grateful for everything. Right now, like I said, a lot of things have happened to people over the last 18 months. So we actually had COVID as well as a
Oh, no
family.
way.
So I won't wish it on anybody.
Mm,
So we were quite thankful we didn't actually end up in hospital or anything like that.
yeah.
We managed to deal with it at home, but we've been through that, so we know all about that all too well.
Yeah. Mate, fingers crossed, touch wood, I haven't had it and hopefully won't get it, or it's not as far as I'm aware anyway. I haven't had any symptoms or anything, but I've seen some people that have, and it's really messed them up afterwards, like
Yeah.
long COVID and
Long
stuff like
COVID.
that.
Oh my god, that's another thing that I'm grateful not had that, where it's just literally months and months up. There's no end to it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, man,
yeah.
it's madness. But yeah, again, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate it. So, what is it? When did you first get involved with mental health, and how did it come about for you?
I mean, before that, I mean, just the word mental health. Look, when we were growing up, sure you can resonate with this as well. Just in school and stuff, there's words labeled about, like psycho, mental, all these things. We relate it with things that are not right with somebody. There's something wrong with someone, and this is a perception that we had when we were growing up. And we weren't taught any different than that. And it was fun, to be honest. It was people were making fun out of other people for being like that, or just even if they were just acting in a certain way, they were just labeled like that, and they would always be labeled like that. And from a young age as well, um, watching films, South Asian films at home, being quite dramatic, how they would
Mm.
treat people mentally would be like in a hospital, and they're just getting electricity pumped in them, and they've got things around their head with all funny colors, and God knows what's
Yeah.
going on to them. And it's just like, oh my God, like these people are mad, right? This
Yeah.
was our perception growing up of it, and it for me, it I just kind of left that there and didn't really delve into it any more than that until, like I said, I started, parent blogging online, and there was a lot of information all of a sudden. I'm talking about 2017, 2018, where there was all these quotes about mental health and self-care and healing and trauma, and people taking their own lives, and all these men's health. Everything just seemed to come to the forefront. Sure, it was always there, but all of a sudden my eyes and ears became open to it, and all of these stats about men's mental health especially, and certain ages that suicide is higher in those age brackets, and men with children and families, getting to the point where they were attempting or actually taking their own lives. It really hit me hard, because I
Yeah.
looked at myself then as a dad of two. Now I'm a dad of four, but then I was like, my God, this is actually real. This is happening. These are statistics that people are putting out there, but they're not just statistics. There's people's lives involved, not just the people that it's happening to, but every single person connected with these people. So that's really when I became aware of it.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's so interesting that you say that as well, because I remember growing up, and I would watch, say, cartoons and things like that, and you would always see people who may have been, want for a better word, slightly mania, going through mania, and they would always be quickly just wrapped up in a straitjacket, and they'd be thrown in the asylum with a padded cell and this, that, and the other. And it wasn't until I was older, obviously, and I started doing this, that I kind of really started to think about that, and I was like, that's how society brought us up. I mean, I grew up in the 90s, and for me, when I was watching some of that, I was like, oh yeah, like you said, it's fun, it's funny, because that's the comedy side of it then. But then you now look at it and how society's changed, and how we're talking about mental health and things like mania and mental well-being as well. And you would, for me, I haven't, and again, obviously, I'm not watching too many cartoons at the age I am now, but for me, I haven't seen anything like that since. So I think there has been a massive shift in that. But it's just so interesting that when we were growing up, that's how that was always perceived.
Yeah, we didn't know any different from that.
Yeah.
We were not educated in that. We were not taught these things, and that's okay to admit that as well. What we are where we are today now, we've got a lot of things that we need to unlearn as well. But
Mm.
that can be uncomfortable as well, where it's easier now to turn off from it as well. It can be hard as well, where I'm sure from when you're talking to people about it, it's some people just don't want to know about it, because I said
Yeah.
it's not easy to talk about. It's uncomfortable. It's kind of just left best over there,
Yeah.
and
There's still that taboo, isn't there? There's still that taboo after all this time. But did you have any experiences yourself with mental health at all, mate?
so growing up as well, like I wouldn't have known that it was relating to mental health. But when I was growing up, I just to the point of school, college, university, and things like this. Something wasn't right with me, in terms of I just felt like I couldn't be myself.
Mm.
And I felt like I used to drink back then as well, and I used to feel that was the confidence that I needed to be able to be myself, and that I just felt that people they I couldn't be myself, that they wouldn't take me for who I was. And that used to I was doing it not for the right reasons, and I never really enjoyed drinking, to be honest, but I just
Mm.
felt that it just put me in that zone where I could express myself and be accepted, whatever that meant to me at the time. But afterwards, anybody who's trying to numb the pain of something, the after effects are always not good. So I
Yeah.
would feel horrible afterwards, and it would take me really low afterwards. And like I was looking for something I felt like I didn't really belong anywhere. And our own sort of community pressures are that when you're growing up, everything needs to be figured out. You need to go to
Mm.
university, you need to get a job, you need to get married after that. Everything is like a roadmap is then mapped out for you. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's scary. And I didn't know what I was doing at the age of 21. I went to university, and I just kind of were just mulling along with things, but I didn't really feel like I was a part of anything. I didn't really feel like I had a purpose. I didn't really feel like I was going anywhere in my life. And now, obviously, I know that a lot of people feel like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But then it felt like everyone else had everything mapped out, and I was just like struggling internally because these are our thoughts, and we're drowning in our own thoughts, and that's what was happening to me at the time. And I was quite fortunate that I found my faith. I wasn't really practicing in the Sikh faith before. I'd grown up and around and everything, but I found that at the time that was really important to me. And all of a sudden, I felt like I found what I was looking for. I felt a part of something, and then I had a purpose, and I was going somewhere with this, and I felt rejuvenated with this. So that was really at that point where things started to turn to me. But in terms of mental health, so going to sort of 2013, 2014 is when I was a father father of one at the time. When Simon, my eldest, was 3 years old and been married for a few years. And we were starting to outgrow our two bedroom house, sorry, that we lived in, and we were then going to be upscaling to move. And we got everything. We got the house that we wanted. Everything was going great, and all of a sudden it just dawned on me the pressure and the stress that I was involved in. And I was all day long, I was talking to all these different people about getting the house through and this, that, and the other. And my job was quite stressful at the time. I was working on an IT help desk, so my manager used to make a joke: when someone's phoning, they've got a problem. They're not asking how you are; they've got a problem, and you need to sort it
Yeah.
out for them. And so I was chained to a phone for 8 hours a day. In the meantime, I was trying to get a house move going through. We were coming home. We were packing everything up. We were driving to storage, putting everything in, and this was going on for weeks and weeks. And I felt tired. I felt exhausted, but I just thought, look, this is just everything was just happening, right? And I just thought, this is what we do, right? And it just happened so that we moved out too early. We wanted to get our house rented. We moved out, and a chain was going on. We weren't ready to move into our house. We didn't know what to do, so we moved in with my in-laws. I love my in-laws, no problem at all with them. Didn't really see anything coming, but
Mm.
we then moved from a house into a bedroom with all of our
Yeah.
stuff in there and everything. And I started to lose who I was. I started to, just from being in my own house and being my own householder, and just doing things like taking the bins out and doing whatever routine that I had, I lost it. I lost
Yeah.
everything. And all of a sudden, I just couldn't work out what had happened to me. I felt exhausted. I felt I couldn't sleep. I felt like I didn't want to do anything. Felt like I didn't want to be around anybody, and I couldn't work out what was going on. And it was really scary because I felt like I was losing everything, and
Mm.
I couldn't explain it to my wife because I didn't know what was going on internally with me.
Yeah.
But obviously, she knows me better than I know myself, and I couldn't hide anything from her. She knew something's going on, and every day I could feel something inside was different, and I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know about mental health. I didn't know about nothing, and I would come home from work, and I would lock myself in the toilet, and I would just cry. And I didn't know why I was crying. I didn't know what was, but it just felt like everything was, you know, falling down from around me. Everything was caving in, and I was like, I've got responsibilities. We're moving into a house. I've got a wife. I've got a 3-year-old child. I've got all this responsibility, and that was really weighing heavy on me at the time. And my wife, she was wanting to know what was going on. We were talking and stuff like that. And like I said, I felt I didn't want to be around anybody, but I was quite lucky at the time because we were moving house. No one was
Mm.
really alarmed at my absence from places.
Yeah.
Um, but everything was going wrong. She was the strong one at the time. She was trying to remind me who I was,
Mm.
and that she loved me, and that everybody kept. I couldn't see nothing. My skin was so thick from the outside. There was like nothing could penetrate inside me. I was feeling
Mm.
ungrateful. I couldn't see anything. Literally, I didn't know what was going on, and this was all over the space of a few weeks. Everything, it just like took a nosedive, and it was like I was on this slippery slope that was going down, and there was no way out of whatever it was, and I just wanted to be on my own. And what started to turn was that, we were then moving into a house, and I didn't want to move there anymore.
Yeah.
All of this stuff, I didn't want to do anything. And my wife had to take over the chain of the house because I was in no fit state to do anything,
Mm.
and I'd lost interest as well. I wasn't bothered anymore. She took that over. She managed to save it from all falling through, and we had a chain of like five people in there. She managed to save it. We moved in, and there was good days and bad days, but it was meant to be the happiest time of our life when
Yeah.
we were moving in and building our own home and doing all the fun stuff. But it wasn't like that at all. And I didn't like my job. I was struggling everywhere, but there was some hope coming because I was going for a promotion at work.
Yeah.
We'd moved house. Like I said, there was good days and bad days. She was reminding me she was the strong one, out of us, and I managed to get the promotion at work. Literally, it was hinging on that. That gave me some positivity. We moved, like I said, we'd moved house. I started to see a few positive things coming out, and
Mm.
then we fell pregnant with Gurleen, as my second daughter. Um, and that was really the turning point for me
Yeah.
because I felt like I got another chance. And really, literally from there, things started to improve dramatically. Um, and there was good days and bad days, like there are
Yeah.
still today, you know. But that's really in a nutshell. But literally, everything started to cave around me and just nosedive in the space of a couple of months. Literally,
Yeah.
I could have lost everything, and I couldn't work out what was going on with the time. I thought I was depressed.
Mm.
Um, my wife, I had insomnia because I couldn't sleep at night. All of these things, we had no idea about anything. It was only when, obviously, as I'm going to speak about, when I got into the industry, then I
Mm.
figured out upon the symptoms I had that I had low mood. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was emotionally drained. That can happen to anybody. But it felt like, oh my God, what is going on with me?
Yeah. And do you know what? It's so interesting that you talk about the house bit because I haven't covered that on the podcast, but that is such a huge thing because I remember for me, I moved out. I went from my mum and dad's place. I moved in with an ex. I then moved back with mum and dad. I then went and moved in with one of my best mates at the time. Then again, moved back to mum and dad's, and then went traveling for a little while where I had complete freedom to do whatever I wanted. And then I made the move up to London after that, and to move from essentially a house, if you like, because when I had the place with my best mate, to then going back to a room, because fast forwarding through the travel, it's tough, isn't it? I mean, going from having your own space into something that's just a small room, it's a big mental change. It really is. But one of the things, and you mentioned there obviously that you were in IT previously, and then you got into the job with mental health. So can you tell us a bit about that? And can you also tell us, when you're working and you're listening to people's points of view on mental health, how that kind of changed your perception of mental health as well?
Yeah, just before that, just because you mentioned it about the moving house, I only figured this out afterwards when I heard a stat on it that basically it's the third most stressful thing you can do in your life. After death, divorce comes moving house. There's the stress of it, and that really put it in a bracket for me. And also as well, like just going back because we got married really quickly. We had a child really quickly. We moved house really quickly, and then we moved. It was, for me, it was like, when I look back now, the signs were there, of all of that. But what you are asking me now about where the change came in as well, was like, for me, I had a lived experience of it, and I didn't realize that I would take it in this direction, and that this path would appear for me. I had no idea about it, but it was literally from Instagram, which is mind blowing. That my
Yeah.
career changed, my life changed, everything changed from it, because all of a sudden, I had a lived experience, and I was looking at everybody posting, fathers posting, okay, I'm on this antidepressant. I have anxiety. I'm opening up about this now, and I started to see it everywhere. It was just like something I couldn't explain and something I couldn't turn off. It's like, like when you want to buy a car, you want to buy a Mercedes or something. Mercedes has always been there, right? But when you want to buy one, you see it everywhere. You never
Yeah.
noticed it before, right? It's just a different dimension. People were coming up to me and talking to me about mental health, and
Mm.
I couldn't believe it. And what really changed as well is that, I don't know if you can see it, but there's that, that badge there, that
Oh
this is
yeah.
me badge. There was a talk at work, um, on being in the city, working in the city in mental health, and I wore that badge with pride, and I didn't realize what I was doing, but I was walking around, and people were just saying, "What is this? Why are you wearing this?" And then
Mm.
and I didn't really know why either, to be honest, but I felt a part of it, and I felt like an ambassador for this, and it felt important to me. And we're having conversations about mental health, and
Yeah.
and I was talking about people that in work that had opened up, and things like this. But to be honest, that was the beginning of it. But really what happened was, it was dawning on me inside, the internal was starting to change, and there was conversations I was having with myself about, look, you need to make a difference. What you're doing, I was working in a bank, I was getting well paid, and I was driven by bonuses, overtime. I was working in the city. I thought to myself, I'm climbing the career ladder. I want to work here for 30 years. I want to retire here. But then I thought, what's the point in that? I'm working for myself and my family. I'm not doing anything for anybody else. And that's what really dawned on me. When you work in the city, you're working in the hustle and bustle of everything. Um, you know, things get things. You just get blown back into it, don't you? And that kept happening to me, but it was still there, it wouldn't go away. People were coming up to me and saying, my brother committed suicide, and I'm like, oh my god, and
Yeah.
it would just like get me here, and I'm like, this is this is happening, this is going on. And I was using my time, my lunch break, to watch talks. I was Anyone that was in mental health, I was talking to them. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I wanted to be like them or change my career or do any. I just wanted to hear about them, and talk to them. And it actually, cutting a long story short, my daughter started school, and we got loads of leaflets. One of them was for mind, and I looked at
Mm.
the leaflet, and I had it in my something physical in my hand, right? And this is the power. Look, we're all digital now, but I had something physical in my hand that I looked at it, and it said, "Do you want to become a volunteer?" And I thought,
Yeah.
this is a great place to start, right? And I just fired off an email to them, and before I knew it, I was turning up there in the office, and they were saying to me, "Do you want to become a mentor?" And I
Yeah.
was like, well, and I could only see females there as well. And one of my friends who was in the industry said, "There's no men in the industry. We need men in the industry." And that's why
Yeah.
I felt empowered as well. And I thought, look, we need men in the industry as well. And I was like, yeah, why not become a mentor? Had training for it and filled out all the checks and applications and everything. And then January 2019 is when I become a mentor, and I started listening to someone with issues, concerns, challenges, just listening to them. And it was literally only a couple of weeks, then a job became available there. And I just followed my heart and just went for it. And I literally left a career 13, 14 years that I'd been studying in and working in, and had made progress in, just to follow my heart and my passion, and to make a difference where I could. And literally, and that 2 years have gone now from there. But literally, what you're saying about listening to people, um, we have this thing and we see it all the time, isn't it? Why are people not talking about mental health?
Yeah.
Because there's no one to listen to them. No
Yeah.
one's interested in listening to them, because soon as someone starts talking about something, you jump in with your 2 pence worth, and then
Yeah.
the conversation's gone.
Yeah.
This happened to me. Oh, I know about this, that, and the other. Before you know it. So just listening, and from entering the industry, I had training on listening, and I was like, wow, you get trained to listen to people. I had no
Mm.
idea, right?
Yeah.
It's actually a skill to listen to people. I didn't know about it. I learned to listen to people. It's like when you're going to a doctor, isn't it? The doctor
Mm.
wants to hear what you've got to say first, then they
Yeah.
give you a diagnosis. They don't jump in straight away. They want to know everything, don't they? And this was so important to me, that that how we could help them just from listening, that allowing them to speak and getting to what it is that was causing them problems and concerns, and then being able to help them. But ultimately, that was a big thing. People just want you to listen to them,
Mm.
which is just that alone is huge for anybody
Yeah.
who's experiencing anything.
And do you know what's so key? What you said there. I actually worked for a bank previously as well, and I got taught active listening through that. So it was kind of like a sales process. But the most interesting thing that I found that well, part of what you were saying there was actually that when people you're talking to someone, they throw their opinion in, and then that opinion then becomes their fact. So that when you're trying to go and express yourself, and I find this a lot with guys that I chat to as well, is that they'll for example they'll say, oh yeah mate, I'm not feeling great and blah blah blah. Someone will then chime in and be like, oh yeah, well I'm not doing this because of blah blah blah, and it completely demeans how that person's feeling at that particular time, rather than, like you said, just using that kind of listening technique to just turn around and be like, do you know what? Yeah, you're feeling a bit shit. Let's talk about it. Let's go through and let's have a chat about it and see where we can try and work things out, even just on a mate to mate level. If then they decide that they need more professional help afterwards. But I think that you're completely right there. I think that some people's overabundance personality of sometimes it's kind of like one-upmanship, of, well, it's that old saying of, if you've swum in the pool, someone swum the Nile, that type of thing. And that's where I find a lot of people struggle, is that they don't feel like they can express themselves in the right way.
Totally agree, because you know what they have to say is valid as well, but we've not allowed them the opportunity. We've not asked them the questions and allowed them to. We've made the assumptions before as well. And this is the dangerous thing that I say to people: look, don't label what someone else is, you think that they've got, because they're not telling you everything either as
Mm,
well. But we've assumed everything. They've not told us everything either. So it's very dangerous ground that we're walking on, because these are people's lives. If
yeah,
people are drowning in their own thoughts, there's no solution there. You and I know that there's no solution there. They're
yeah,
not going to be able to resolve that themselves. They're just going to go lower and lower and lower. So if they do have the opportunity, this is another one as well. People say that, okay, if someone is, and how do you get someone to talk about it? You can't. But you
mm,
have to just be there for them, to show them that, look, I'm here for you when the time is right, or whatever it is. Even, they don't even have to say anything, just being there. People know who's there for them, that when the time comes, when they're ready to speak about whatever it is that they need to speak about, then they know who to go to. You just open up that communication, that channel.
yeah, absolutely, man. And then one thing that I wanted to ask you as well, and this is for me, and I know that we spoke about this off air. We were talking about the stigmas that surround South Asian communities, and I know that some of my best friends, from South Asian communities, they've always had, for me, they've had a stigma, like we were just saying there, around opening up and around talking. And I never really understood, obviously, as a white British guy, I had no idea about it because I was so naive about it. But can you just tell us about that? Because it really, when I sat down with my friends and I listened, just like we were saying there, I really started to understand a lot more around South Asian culture, but also, the fact that mental health is, like we were saying earlier, still a bit of a taboo subject.
Absolutely. It's something, look, growing up as well, look, it's not discussed and it's not understood in families and communities. There's a big fear of status, of
Mm.
being truthful about what is actually going on with somebody and how that can affect them, how that can affect their career, how can that can affect their suitability to getting married, or
Mm.
whatever aspirations that somebody has. It's like I said, this is growing up. This is something where it's brushed under the carpet. It's denied almost that this is happening because this person, they just need to have a break. They just need to get a new job. They just need to get married, or
Yeah.
they need to drink more, or they need to numb whatever's going on in their life, um, because whatever it is, there's nothing going on. It's like the elephant in the room that
Yeah.
nobody's talking until, God forbid, the worst happens. You know, and then but then even back then when the worst was happening, it wasn't disclosed that this is the reason why this has happened. And it's also almost like it's very difficult because our culture, our religion, our faith is very strong. The foundations are very much there. Who we are, what we stand for, and everything like this. It's almost as if you're immune to mental health. You're not allowed to have it, not allowed to have mental health issues, because of these things. Because if you say you do, then there's a weakness somewhere there.
Yeah.
But it's like, the analogy of someone who, they say, is homeless, for example. They're on the street and you're saying to them, get a job, right?
Yeah.
There's things that there's nothing wrong with getting a job, but they need to get up on their feet first. They need support. They need food. They need shelter. They need everything that they need
Yeah.
before that. So it's not like, someone's got mental health issues. Okay, they need to do X, Y, and Z more. They need to be practicing their faith more. They need to be enhancing their cultural feelings or whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with those things, but someone needs to get somewhere to a place of balance and equilibrium before they can then start applying that, which is going to help them even more. But they need to
Mm.
get to that stage. But all often to not, these are the solutions that are dealt out to people. Whereas this and this must be wrong for you to be having this, right? There's no, and look, this was a big problem, but there's a lot of positives now because there's a lot of conversations happening with my age group and younger than me as well, students as well. Because, like I said, it's not about the worst happening where someone takes their own life and then everyone feels empowered to talk about, hey, I felt like that before. But someone's had to do that in order for us to have the conversations. But there's also problems from before where there's a lack of trust in in the communities and the circles, that if I say what's, where's the confidentiality there as well. These are things that, but there are spaces that are opening up now. We need to do more of this, where we allow people to come into these spaces and they can share what's going on with them in confidence, and that they can be signposted. We, well, obviously from the Sikh faith, right? So we've got a number of charities, and I've worked with them, and they work together, and
Yeah.
they don't challenge each other. There's space for everybody there, and they work together. We have helplines set up now. People can phone up between needs hours. They've got people that can understand them. Yeah,
Yeah.
because obviously I work within Western mental health, and
Yeah.
there's some great therapists out there, but sometimes you need someone from your own background to be able to connect with you, to understand certain cultural things and things that you're feeling. that you maybe can't explain to someone who's just not experienced it. So that option needs to be there for them. And there's a lot of people, especially you've probably seen on Instagram, there's a lot of, brown therapists,
Yeah.
lab calling themselves that now. And it's become quite cool and hip to be known as
Mm.
brown and to be
Okay.
talking about these things. And so conversations are happening, and we need to do more of that stuff. And we need to be motivated by, for myself as well, when somebody comes to me and tells me, look, this is happening right now with them or somebody they know, I'm more motivated than ever, because I realize that there's a need for this. I'm reminded of it all the time, that
Mm.
there's a need for why I'm talking about this.
Yeah. And do you know what? It's so nice to hear you speak so openly and passionate about it. Because for me, again, as a white British guy, I have no real knowledge. I've educated myself a little bit because of my previous housemates and my mates and things like that. But it's so nice to hear you talk so passionately about your faith and culture and everything like that. Because I think that it's important, like you mentioned earlier, it's important. It was an important part of your journey to recovering through your mental health trauma at the time. So yeah, thank you so much, man. I've got a lot more education to do with this,
No,
but
no.
it's so good for you to open up and talk about that, and I really appreciate it. But tell us about your Instagram account, because I absolutely love your account, and I saw the other day that one of your little ones was actually talking on LBC as well a little while ago. So tell us about the account and all of that, because it is brilliant.
Look, I mean, to be honest, like, I could never have imagined it being where it is today. I just needed to do something at the time, and the community around me were seeing me as an active father. And
Mm,
because, like I said, when Gurleen was born, my second child, like I said, it gave me a lease of life, and it gave me another chance. And I grasped it with both hands, literally. And I was doing everything for her. I was in the forefront of everything, and people could see that, and I could see that as well with other people, like my
yeah,
dad and their generation. They didn't even change a nappy, or they were going to work all the time, and I'm sure all of that as well, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
we new age of fathers where we are at the forefront of our child's life. We're making decisions. We are there for them. We can do everything for them. So I started looking at other people as well, and seeing me as well, and seeing what they're doing, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. This needs to be talked about somehow. How do we do it? I don't know. But then I was like, just create an account, and like, who am I? I'm trying to be a Sikh. I'm trying to be a dad. This is who I am, right? So, but I
yeah,
thought there must be someone out there called Seek Dad, right? But there wasn't. So I thought
yeah,
I'd just go with it, right? And literally from there, at the beginning, it was just about sharing my lifestyle, my journey, and my experiences. And I wanted to really put down some misconceptions out there about how we're raising our children in faith. Because people are like, well, you can't do this, that, and the other with them. Therefore, their life is like this. You're making decisions for them, this, that. I want to show them, look, actually, we have fun, right?
mm,
They
mm,
don't go without, right? But we are raising them like this, because this is what we believe is the right thing to do. Just like our parents raised us, how they thought was the right thing to do. And if they grow up, we want to know that, hey, we tried everything and we left no stone unturned. But this is their journey now, and they can move on into adulthood how they choose to. But these are the foundations that we set for them. And look, it's just been one journey, literally. And like I said, mental health wasn't even on the radar when I
yeah,
started this. But I went there, and I tried to take everybody with me. And racism as well, like I said, the LBC, when Mansima was on there, when she had a racist incident when she was 9 years old, when we made that
mm,
video, and we ended up on the BBC, ITV, Sky Sports News, Arsenal training ground, Brentford, you name it.
mm,
We
mm,
all from that platform. And look, I could never have imagined any of that. And literally, it's just about um, adding everything I do. Like, we have fun and stuff like that, but it's quite serious for me, because like I'm quite responsible, because people that choose to follow me and come into the community, is I feel responsible for them.
yeah,
And look, I want to share things that of purpose with them, that add value to them, and educate them, and that try to serve them, ultimately with that. But like I said, the support that we've had is just through the roof, and I just feel like doing more all the time. And look, it's a platform that we're all operating in. There's good days and there's bad days. You know it on there.
Yeah.
You're on there as well. But it's all we have and what we're operating in. Yeah, look, it's a parent blog, and it's opened so many doors for me, and it's given me so much confidence as well to step out, and talking back about what I experienced before and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Look, it doesn't go away. It still comes in times, but I have to tell myself, look, you know that was then. Look, this is now. Look, and I have to breathe through it sometimes. With my affirmations and everything, and
Mm.
self work still needs to be done. It's
Yeah.
not the end of the road. Look, that I've recovered from something or whatever it is. Look, I need to be working on myself all the time, and personal development is a huge part of my life as well. With that, and look, mental health, it all goes hand in hand. You will see it yourself. It's all the same thing, literally. So I mean, that's it in a nutshell, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? Like we were saying about the education piece earlier, I every time that I go onto your account, I learn something new, whether it's mental health, whether it's about Asian community or something. So I just wanted to say thank you, man, because yeah, it's a real eye opener. Again, coming from my sort of white British background, not knowing anything around that, it's an eye opener. So yeah, thank you so much, man. But also, one thing that I wanted to say was congrats on your daughter for not only getting an LBC, but little Len got an award last week as well. So,
Thank you.
congrats to her.
Like she's out there as well now. She's like, my wife was talking on Instagram live before. She's challenging us as well now and making us,
Oh, really?
do more. And look, I mean, I look at her like even 9, 10 years old and whatever. Look, when I was that age, I didn't even know what day of the week it was, let alone,
No.
so it's just so, like, she just has something inside her as well that she wants to make change, as well. And she, at school, she's a mental health ambassador. She's,
Wow.
but the thing is as well, what I tried to do was, like, I wanted her to, because she was at the age where, 9, 10 years old, she's going to remember that, look, my dad changed his career. Why did
Mm,
he do that? I made her a part of it,
yeah.
and I didn't want her to grow up and see me just working to pay bills or buy things. I wanted her to see my dad loves what he does, and that's really important because I want her to do the same thing, right? We want all that for our children, don't
Yeah.
we? We want them to do the same thing, really.
Yeah, exactly, man. No, I think that's really, really inspirational, if I'm honest with you, because you can just get stuck into a 9 to 5 rather than, what you want to do and what you're passionate about. So fair play to you, man. But last question that I've got for you.
Sure.
What advice would you give to anyone who would have gone through sort of any similar experience to you, or maybe struggling at the moment? What advice could you give to them?
Obviously, look, this is something that people do ask, and I get asked this, and other people in the industry do get asked this when we open ourselves up to these questions. And it's important that people are asking these questions, but the main thing is, for me, look, you can get through it. I've heard so many experiences, of people that have been in really, really desperate situations, and I'm sure you have as well, right? That they've got through it, and you can get through it as well. But also know that you're going to have your good days and your bad days as well. But you need to, if you're feeling a certain way, you need to try to find out why you're feeling a certain way. What is it that is triggering you to feel like you are feeling? Must be a reason, when you start to delve in, and it can be really uncomfortable, to go deep and find it. And like I said, for me, I knew what it was for me because I knew that there was a chain of events to the point that things just tipped over the edge. But it was hard to admit that to myself. There must be some reason why you're feeling like you are feeling, and it's important that you try to reflect on that and find out what that is first, but also be open to having conversations about how you're feeling, that it's okay to feel like you're feeling. Because the thing is, you will know from your experiences, and I know from mine, when you're feeling like that, you feel totally alone. Like you're the only
Yeah.
one in the world that's ever felt like that. And then when somebody tells you, hey, I felt like that before, it's like someone turned the light on and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm not alone anymore. And you feel reassured. And then there's all these things that are possible after that. And the main thing is it can be very difficult, but there's some positive out there in your life, and you need to find out what that positive is
Yeah.
and just build from there. And it's really important that you try to um, just feel what's going on with you, yeah,
Mm.
and just be accepting of where you are as well, and that you are on your own journey with it, and that you everything. I really truly believe this, but it's taken me a while to get there. And when I'm working with people, everything is inside us. Everything inside you is inside me, right? But we just have to believe it. It's all in us. If someone can motivate me, right? But it's inside me. The inspiration is inside me to to flourish, and it's the same with everybody. It's all inside everybody. They just
Yeah.
need to discover it, and it's a beautiful thing when you do discover that. But the main thing is that just don't give up.
Yeah.
There's people there, and there's one thing that I really wanted to share, right?
Mm.
Because I was in a forum, right, and there was somebody who said that they felt worthless. They felt like
Wow.
they were useless. They felt like it didn't matter if they did not exist anymore.
Mm.
They were very open with how they said that. And when I came to sharing something about myself, they offered me
Okay.
a solution that no one had given me before. And because I was talking about when I was young, my imagination would run wild with me to the point that I still have problems with it today. That there's no reality. I need to look at what the reality is. I'm focusing on what the imagination is. And this
Yeah.
person said to me, he goes, you know what it is? You know what your problem is? He goes, you looking in here outside. You need to look with your eyes at things. And I was like, wow.
Ah,
For
okay.
somebody who felt like they were useless, that felt that they were a burden on earth, that felt they had no use to anybody. Like if they weren't here, it would not matter. They offered me that advice,
Mm.
and that told me everything I needed to know. That was a reality check for me when I'm talking to people that feel like no, there's something inside everybody. It's just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I always find as well that it's the people that have gone through the hardest times always have the best advice as well.
Absolutely,
They
we've
really
been
do
there.
because they've got the lived experience.
We've been there, and you're absolutely right. Anybody that you see has been successful in anything has gone through the failure,
Yeah.
no matter what that failure looks like. They've been there, they've gone through it, and it's like I'm sure you've seen like the iceberg, isn't it? The tip of the iceberg is a success.
Yeah.
Underneath is all the everyday struggles that people have gone through, including mental health.
Yeah. No, exactly, man. Gurpreet, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it. Where is it that we can find you? Where's all your socials, details, and websites and everything? Where can we find out
Main
about you?
main one is Instagram, Seek Dad. From there, I've got a link tree from there, and then it will take you to Twitter and everywhere else. But that's the main place that I'm operating in. But I wanted to just say one thing, if I can, because next month I'm running the Vitality Half Marathon for mental health, and again we'll be doing the London Marathon in October. Whereas literally, look, this is last year I was like, I had the opportunity to run the marathon, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. But then, our fundraiser at work was like, well, why don't you do it? And I was like, okay, look, I'm out here saying this, that, and the other about mental health. You need to do this, you need to do that. Look, I need to swallow my own advice. And what am I doing? I need to do something. So literally, look, I ran the London Marathon last year and
Mm.
put my mind, body, and soul on the line for what I for all of us. We
Yeah.
can all do this. So look, this is what I'm doing over the next couple of months. For mental health. And look, when I'm running that, I know, look, this is a battle of mind, body, and soul, all the way from the beginning to the end of the journey. just to see it through, no matter how it is, no matter how hard it is. We need to see it through, and this is just a reminder
Yeah.
of that. So yeah, I will be sharing that. So that's what's in store
Yeah.
for the next couple of months.
And send me the links as well. I'll put it all over my Instagram, put it in the episode links and everything like that, and hopefully we can get you some more donations come through
I
as
will.
well.
I will. Absolutely. Thank you
Brilliant.
so much.
Gurpreet, thank you so much, mate, for coming on. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be able to meet up in person soon as well.
Absolutely. I really appreciate, shout out to you as well, for your consistency and what you do. And you've had some amazing guests so far on your show. And I'm privileged to be, one of them, amongst these amazing people. So, hats off to you as well. Well done to you for all you do as well.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. I'll speak to you again soon.
Take care then. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I've lost the mouse. There it is. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.